What's up, cool people? I'm Matt Conroy, and I guess based on some things I've encountered recently, I was kind of prompted to maybe talk for a little while about just running a YouTube channel. I'm thinking I might kind of go through some of like the pros and cons of being a smaller YouTube channel versus maybe being at some of the other levels, tiers, whatever you might call them, of YouTube fame, for lack of a better way to put it. So, in terms of being a small channel, the downsides, some of them are pretty obvious. First off, you don't get money off of your videos if you're a small channel. There's a certain threshold of subscribers and like maybe even watch time and stuff like that nowadays, where if you're not above that, you can't make money off of your videos, period. The flip side of that coin, though, is that you don't have to worry about whether or not your videos are getting monetized or whether they're able to be monetized, because you're not getting money off of them anyway. They're never going to be monetized unless and until you suddenly get a lot more popular on YouTube. So stuff like, age restricting videos or having copyrighted music or other kind of stuff that would otherwise demonetize a video of yours, you really don't gotta worry about that. I've especially come to this realization as I've been not re-releasing, but like as I've gotten back into putting my top 10 videos on like different music stuff, because nearly all that stuff I've put out there has some sort of copyright claim on it, thus making those, honestly, for me, the only videos I have with ads on them, because copyright claim means whoever owns the copyright apparently has to get some money off of it. So the ads show up there, and the money that comes from those ads being played or whatever, I'm still not sure how that works. But anyway, it's essentially like it's being monetized, but the money goes to the copyright owners instead of to the channel displaying the video. So, good and bad of being a small channel in that regard. And I guess another downside of, well, I don't know. This is another one of those plus and minus kind of situations where it's sort of, I don't know, it depends on your perspective, I guess. Because obviously, for me, running such a small channel that I have, all of it is just me. I do all the work on any of the videos I put out there. All the recording, all the editing, all the publishing, all of it is just me. So, in some ways, it kind of restricts me in the amount of content I can put out there reasonably, while still also having another job where I actually make money. This isn't even a job for me. This is just a hobby, basically. And the fact that I have to have a full-time job where I make money, in addition to trying to do this and doing all the work for all the videos by myself, it limits how much I can put out there. But at the same time, obviously, for the bigger channels, it's like, well, in order to keep up with the demand or whatever for new content, in order to stay relevant, they typically end up hiring multiple people for their staff. I mean, there might be some exceptions out there. I don't know. In any case, small channel, no money, no need to worry about paying other people to edit your videos or do anything like that for you. Also, there isn't as much pressure to constantly pump out new stuff. I mean, it certainly helps, I guess, so people know when to expect stuff from you, but at the same time, it's like, I don't have any money tied up in this or anything, so who cares really if I suddenly just drop off the face of YouTube, for lack of a better way to put it. And I guess in a similar manner, the type of content that you do also isn't really as restricted if you're a really small channel. You could just kind of do whatever you want with it, because you don't have to worry about the money that you might be making off of it. You don't have to worry about keeping up with the trends or anything like that. Now, at the same time, some of like the really, really big, like the top tier biggest names in YouTube really don't have to worry so much about that either, I would say. They've built up enough of a following that their videos will get enough views to keep them going financially, whatever they end up doing. I mean, sure, if they put out a string of videos that just are downright terrible and everybody hates, they might start losing some of their fan base or whatever you want to call it. But aside from that, really, I think like the really small YouTube channels and the really big YouTube channels are in a similar boat in that regard, where they can pretty much do whatever they want and just kind of be themselves without having to worry about all the keeping up with the trends and making sure that they're, latching on to whatever's popular. Really, it's kind of the mid-tier YouTube channels that are in the worst position when it comes to that particular aspect anyway, because it's like they're just big enough that it's like they can make money off of their videos, and they get some of the other kind of higher tier benefits, so to speak, but they're not quite big enough where they have that dedicated following and they can just kind of do whatever. There's kind of some pressure in that regard to put something out there that A, will be popular enough that they can make enough money off of it to keep doing YouTube content and have it be profitable. And really, I think there's also a push to do what's popular because they're trying to get themselves kind of further up in the YouTube tier system, as I've been sort of describing it, where they become a big enough name for long enough that they have that following. The problem, I think, with being in that situation sometimes is that you're just kind of bouncing around between different trends. And so unless somebody were to, catch on to something like, say, Fortnite in its early days, or, a big popular thing that stays popular for a long time, and then they just kind of specialize in that for a while. But I don't know, even then, it's like either you get kind of pigeonholed into one particular thing, and it's expected that that's what you're going to do because that's what made you popular and that's what your fan base is expecting. Or, again, you go back to the person who's just kind of bouncing between different trends all the time and never really has a particular fan base that is, solidly in one genre, that's solidly attached to one type of video, because you keep doing all these different things, and people don't know what exactly to expect from you other than the fact that you're going to be following the popular trends. And so if you try to then just do your own thing at any point, there's no guarantee that your fan base is going to be into that they're really going to, support your creativity in a sense and your desire to do a particular thing. And so, again, me being on the small channel end of this, I'm really not sure how that works in terms of going from sort of a mid-tier jumping around between the trends, going from that to, being one of the bigger names. Honestly, like, the biggest names out there that are the most consistent, that are kind of in that opposite end of the creativity freedom spectrum, where it's like they can pretty much do whatever they want because they have that solid base, that solid following. Like, a lot of those people have been doing YouTube for quite a while. I mean, again, I keep referencing PewDiePie because he is like the biggest single name in YouTube. I can't even remember when he started doing stuff, but like, I know his boom in popularity came probably sometime around early 2010s. I'm thinking 2013 or so, maybe. But in any case, like, a lot of people that are that high up in YouTube popularity are people who started a while ago and got popular a while ago, and really it's just the broader YouTube community has latched on to them because it's like the loyal YouTube watchers are all familiar with these people because they've been around for so long, and they gained popularity back when YouTube wasn't quite as big of a thing. But it's what do I know? Me and my tiny little, like, not quite 40 subscriber YouTube channel. I'm just stating my own observations and things that I've seen from what I've done on YouTube and what other people have done on YouTube, and where some of the pros and cons kind of lie with being at different levels of YouTube popularity. Now, would I mind necessarily having a bigger following on YouTube and actually being able to make some money off of this stuff? No, I'm not. I would not argue with something like that if that were to ever happen. But at the same time, I acknowledge that, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, even when you do get to that point. So, I mean, like I said, there's good and bad of really all the levels of YouTube popularity. Although I guess I haven't really mentioned probably the biggest con to being in the uber popular tier, whether that's even just for a brief time or for a longer time period. Like, you take Logan Paul, for example. Logan or Jake, I forget which one it was, but like, he was super duper popular for a while, and then suddenly he does one or two things and just practically gets Thanos snapped away because it's like, how dare you? There's maybe a similar level of scrutiny when it comes to like the other kind of longer standing big name YouTubers, but at the same time, it's like, their following kind of knows them well enough to sometimes support them even when they do something that's maybe a little bit more on the controversial end of things. Again, PewDiePie as an example, he jokes around about some things. Sometimes he makes a joke that sort of crosses a line, but like his real fans kind of know that he's not being serious about this stuff. Like, It's not like he's trying to be super racist and controversial or anything like that. And really, in a similar way, just other big name YouTube personalities, it's like some of them, I don't want to say it's like they can do no wrong, because again, even at that level, I think if you mess up badly enough and often enough, then people are going to start turning away, because there are plenty of other YouTube personalities out there that will do similar things that they can just then follow instead of this now controversial person. So, really, I think just the level of scrutiny in your actions, in your videos, whatever that's going on like that, and even just the level of fame itself, I guess, can be probably one of the bigger cons of high-tier YouTube fame. Because it's like, in a sense, you're basically a celebrity. It might not be for the same reasons or in quite the same way that, you know, your more, air quote, traditional celebrities might be scrutinized and followed and all that kind of stuff. But I'm sure there are some ways where it's kind of comparable. But anyway, again, that's a bit sort of speculation on my end. Me being a small channel, I'm just like, I'll do my thing, I guess. If it ever catches on, great. If not, whatever. This is just kind of a hobby for me. So, like, if it ever turned into something bigger, then maybe I kind of start playing the internet game, as I call it, a little bit more, where I'm trying to, you know, latch on to what's popular and, like, you know, do things with my social media channels where I just, like, follow any and everybody I can to get my name out there more. But until that happens, I'm just kind of going to be me. I'm going to do what I do. Really, I think even if I got to that level, for the most part, I would just do what I do, because then it's not the same. It's not me being me, which is what would have gotten me to that point in the first place. But anyway, now I'm kind of rambling. That's going to do it for now. I've rambled on long enough about this. So, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, click the bell, all that good stuff. And if you don't, just look down in the description for info on ways to keep up with my YouTube channel and my social media pages and all that kind of stuff. And of course, leave comments down below, all that, with your thoughts. I'm sure there are things that I've missed as far as pros and cons of doing YouTube stuff. If you have thoughts on that, let me know down there, as well as any ideas for other videos or stuff that you might like me to do. Anyway, that's it for now. Hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you next time. But until then, stay cool, people.